I'll just get the mic hopefully set up correctly. I'll see if the chat works when people join, but I might have to pop out chat. So I'm not going to be streaming when the football game's on tonight, obviously, because everybody wants to watch it. And I'll actually be watching it for once. What I'll be doing tonight is just doing a stream up until probably maybe 7:45, because obviously I know there's some pre-match stuff stuff on as well. I'll be streaming for like 40 minutes odd. And obviously I might be a bit hungover tomorrow because of what's going on. I will probably be drinking quite heavily. Not that that is a recommended thing to do, but it's the sort of thing everybody's going to be doing, I think. All right, Dan, very busy weekend at work, but I'm glad I can have a sit down now, watch the football, drink a bit too much kind of thing. As I was just saying to Dan, Chocolate Muffin, busy, very busy weekend at work. I think a lot of people were coming out just because the football's, on. Work week is over now, except for the stuff I do during the week, including YouTube stuff. So that's at least, that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, basically, which is something that's very rare for me to say. All right, Brighto? Just because England normally does shit, so I don't get into football because there's no point. But I'm more of a rugby fan than a football fan. Like I said, I'm not a fanatic with rugby. It's just I'm somebody that would watch it if I remember it's on. But hello everybody that's joining. Oh, cool, Brighto. What type? All right, Craig. What I actually bought though, webbing wise, was because the last stream we were talking about webbing, weren't we? Well, the thing is, Chocolate Muffin, is basically my opinion on it is I hope it's a tight game, as in I hope Italy does well, I hope England does well. Obviously, I want England to win, but it'd be good if it's a good game, nobody doing stupid stuff like shining lasers at the players, like that last fucking game. But I hope it's a good game, I just want it to be a good, close game, nobody booing at either national anthem because that's a fucking stupid thing to do. Just be a good, clean game, a fun game, and hopefully we'll win. But But yeah, the webbing I bought, because we were on about it the other stream, the vest I ended up finding that I bought was what's it called? It's the old Dutch DPM one that's like the British DPM one, but it's basically like a body armor, like an ECBA type vest, but it's not designed to fit armor. It's just a load-bearing vest, so I just bought one of those. And I think the one I bought is coming with 9 molly pouches for it. Oh, yes, Mr. Slavenate, that's a sad thing. Like the Italy fans want Italy to win, the England fans want England to win. Some people don't care. Some people just want to enjoy it and watch the game. And then suddenly some people smash stuff up or hurl abuse at people because their side lost. I'd hope so, Alexander, but, the Italian fans want Italy to win, English fans want England to win, like I say, some people don't care either way. But hopefully it'll be a good game regardless, Oh, for fuck's sake, Alex Saint, I hope not, but doesn't surprise me that people are twats. Like I was saying with the laser pen video I did the other week, I bet there's some people like, oh, isn't that a good idea, shining laser pens at players? Yeah, that's the thing, Jesse. The best team should win, shouldn't they? It shouldn't be any dirty tricks or anything like that. I have to look up seeing what happened because, like I said, I've been at work all day, so all they've been talking about on the radio is football. So, yeah, that'd be good. TXE Gaming, obviously, handle it safely and everything. I'm sure you will, but it's an interesting thing to play around with, as in measure radioactivity. Doing various experiments with it. Well, Brighto, we're a nation of alcoholics, basically. So this is an excuse for us to drink, like Christmas is. So anyway, what was I going to say? So the vest I've got coming is like a Dutch DPM load-bearing vest, and the idea is I'm going to have loads of small, like molly kind of pouches on it for all the different stuff when I take dog walking. What do you mean, watch my post-tactical? Oh, the laser. Oh, thank you. Hopefully that will arrive tomorrow. Yeah, that would be good if it's going to come that fast. But thank you very much. So it's basically this one, but the 303 model, whatever the difference is. But yeah, like I said, this is really good. But like you said, do not look at it with your eyes because, like you said, they can. Because if you've got the top tier safety goggles like these, which I'd recommend to anybody that gets a laser, when you see a laser on the wall, it will look like that. Look, just like a little yellow dot. Yeah, because if you can see that, you don't get any of the thing going through. I'm going to close my eyes when I do this, just so you see. So, but can you see that? You don't. But yeah. Yeah, like the thing is, Alexander, it's a shame football gets so political, doesn't it? With like, but it'd be good if the best team wins. But I want England to win just because, although I'm not really into football, it's nice for England to be doing well for once. Yeah, the nice thing with the DP75 TXC gaming, there's something I found out that does that Soviet DP5s don't do. And it's the DP75 has a much bigger beta range on it, so you can go up to half a Rontgen on a DP75 measuring beta, and it will work. The DP5s only go up to 50 milli Rontgen. It might have done brighter. Let me go up. Oh, you said you bought Type X webbing. Let me have a look. Type X webbing. 2-1, but I have no idea Foot Central because I'm not really into football. You know, like I said, I enjoy it when it's World Cup type stuff or Euros if I'm, you know, in the mood to watch it, and I am because England's in the end. But that's a pessimistic idea, Flazzy, but let's hope it's a good game anyway. I want it to be 2-1 to England, but let's have a look. So Type X webbing, you said. I'll find out the name of the type I bought as well. Like I said, mine's like a load-bearing vest type thing. That looks all right. Like I said, it depends how good it is when you actually use it. But let me so Dutch load-bearing vest, and let's see if it comes up. Ones coming up at the moment aren't the ones I'm on about because they're all coming up with like webbing type stuff. Where this is an actual like DPM vest. Let me search Dutch Molly vest. Yeah, search Dutch Molly vest into Google Images and loads come up. They're like the DPM 95 style ones. And it's essentially like a webbing style vest. So obviously it lets sweat and heat out. And all of it is like molly straps and like rings hanging off of it. But yeah, I said I'll get one of those for dog walking. So I've ordered one because it'll be a lot more convenient than using about or trying to put a yoke on about. The thing is, Alex saying it would be trolls for a different reason, wouldn't it? Today, rather than it going to be people trolling because if you collect guns or anything like that, you're like a sadistic school shooter. It's going to be I don't like this team, therefore I'm going to be trolling. No, I did not. Your mother. Let me Google this. It is England versus Italy today in the Euro finals. Go Gun Store. Let's have a look. So that's a German company, is it, normally? Go Gun Store UK. Let me do it all as one word. Because at the moment it's just looking up gun stores in my area. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, that is cool if they open one in the UK. Hopefully it means it's a lot easier to just buy airbow type stuff in the UK, but that'll be interesting, yeah. No, I did not live to pick her. What happened? I saw the thing in America where they had that tower block collapse in Florida, but I haven't heard anything else from America recently. Apparently, Flazzy, it's like a Jorg Sprav kind of slingshot channel sort of thing by the look of it. You know, like airbows, slingshots, that kind of thing. But I've not placed any bets tonight because I spent too much money recently on that. So, you know. The thing is, there's gun stores in my area, but sadly, I think one of them closed down, actually, with the pandemic. ATM, at the moment, no, because I spent so much on that recently. So, that is, you know, where my money is going to come in from at the moment. But it means I can stream brand new games if people are interested in that, if anything comes out, like maybe Stalker 2 or whatever. Chernobylite runs fine on that. It's an RTX 3090, Andy. if you didn't see the little thing. So yeah, because that's obviously quite small there on the screen. But because I managed to get one for pretty much the RRP, brand new. So I just went for it because it mines in the background when I'm not playing games. It mines when I'm playing games, just at a much slower speed. So, you know, it's going to bring in £5 to £10 of Ethereum per day regardless. So, you know, that contributes to the bunker fund. I am seeing, I've had one beer when I got in from work, and I haven't opened this one yet because I'm busy talking. Oh, you bought a semi-auto yesterday. Cool, Flazzy. What did you get? Already put £200 for it. What model did you get? Is it a Oh, yes, so it's semi-auto 2.2, yes, or a Ruger 1022 or something like that. I will get Stalker 2. I'm hoping it's not too scripted, but I will get it just because I really like the Stalker franchise. That's what, Ruger 1022, that's cool. I really like guns like that because they're just sort of fun range guns, aren't they? I'm waiting till payday, Craig, to get the new TV, but that will be in a week or two. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to go to one of my local electronics retailers that are actually really good because they have very similar TVs at similar prices to Amazon, but it's like a local business. I'm just going to go out there with a car, you know, and just see what they've got in stock that's 4K around the £300, £400 mark, buy one and take it back and use it that day. Oh, so they blew their truck up, I guess, like a car bomb lit a picker. I'm going to assume if you blow up a load of fireworks in the vehicle, it's going to turn into a car bomb. Cheers, seeing you too. But yeah, I'm good, Marco. Like I said, we've been very busy at work this weekend. But when's the Chernobyl Liquidator Simulator thing coming out? Because I played the demo for that, and I thought the demo was all right, although... Again, I know it's not all that realistic because, again, there's Ukrainian firemen with S10s on without filters for some reason. But it was better gameplay than I thought it would be, so I'll probably get it when it comes out. Yeah, it's actually available, I think, to pre-order now on Steam, isn't it? It's not till next year it comes out. How loud do you reckon it is, Flazzy, compared to an air rifle? Because it's going to be louder than an air rifle, isn't it? But by the sound of it, not that much louder. Because I reckon my BSA Hornet, which is basically a Gamma Hornet, because that doesn't have a moderator on it, or, you know, a suppressor, whatever you want to call it, that is probably just going to be as loud because it sounds like somebody, you know, like a loud clap. That. I'll have to search that litter picker after the stream before football starts. But yeah, that sounds crazy that they... especially if they deal with explosives, that they think you can blow up a load of explosives without making a big explosion. Yeah, that's crazy, Fuzzy, isn't it? Basically, having an actual firearm sound as loud as a Springer. But that's amazing, though. But yeah. Yeah, exactly, Alexei. Or shining laser pens at players or whatever else. You know, racial abuse at people if it's, you know, black players on either side or whatever. People being twats, basically. 300,000 counts per minute. Yeah, DP2 strontium sources and strontium sources from Chinese Type 75 Geiger counters are really hot. But yeah, that's because both of those are essentially meant to simulate like doomsday levels of gamma radiation just through beta. If you're using them for like skirmishing, spring airsoft guns aren't very good because obviously they're quite slow to use and you have to put quite a lot of energy into them in terms of like normally the bolts are pretty stiff. If you just wanted to plink cans of them in the garden, they'd be absolutely fine. It's just, you know, for airsoft, they're going to be much slower to use than a proper like AEG kind of thing or just a gas-powered airsoft gun. And, you know, compared to the power you could get for like plinking cans, you know, a Springer air rifle is generally just a lot smoother to shoot. Oh, sadly, that's the exact problem, isn't it? It's that's like completely unsporting, isn't it? And it goes against the whole point of what sports is meant to be. Yeah, which counter did he measure it in TXC Gaming? I'm trying to remember. Because bear in mind, the only thing is with measuring strontium 90 with Geiger counters, if it's not calibrated on a Geiger counter, that's not going to be the correct measurement for it. I'm trying to remember which counter he measured it on, though. Because I'm sure I've watched the video. But Exactly, Ricardo. Exact same bit in reverse to you. You know, I hope Italy does well. I hope England does well. I want England to win, but hopefully it's a nice, good, clean game. But yeah, because obviously, I think the DP2 source measures as 5 Röntgen on my Chinese Type 75. I don't know why I'm pointing there, because I think I've got my Chinese 75 down here somewhere. Yeah, I have, because I put it on the webbing belt, didn't I, on another stream. So let me get that out. Just a second. Because I'm not wearing it on the actual belt. It's a bit awkward getting the belt pouch open. But, yeah, so on... yeah, DP... I remember now, yeah, DP63. So that is probably cesium-137 calibrated, isn't it? So yeah, that's still hot. So, yeah, his is probably about 4 times hotter than mine, because this is... I think this is cobalt-60 calibrated, but if you had a cesium source, it would be a very similar reading, cobalt and cesium. But yeah, so I think on this, if I remember right, it got to about 5 Röntgen with the source there. But in reality, it's 1.4 Röntgen, because I've measured it with quite a few ionization chambers, and they always show 1.4 to 1.5. So it's about 1.4 Röntgen, the actual reality of the source, you know, not a Geiger counter, because Geiger counters will overestimate it unless they're strontium calibrated. Although my strontium, I do have a strontium 90 calibrated Geiger counter saying that, because I have got a Swiss Landis+Gyr EMB3 or whatever it's called. And on that, it was about 1.5 R or so on the outside. If you put it directly on the Geiger Muller tube, I think it got to like 20 R, which is crazy. You can get them giraffe, but the problem is they cost a lot and there's a lot of fakes. So if I was buying one, I'd want to definitely know it's coming from a proper seller. The game's in London, isn't it? It's in Wimbledon, I think. Yeah, at the moment, Brighto, if I'm answering a question properly, the chat's moving fast. Yeah, I only get flashes from my DP2 source, like, reliably on my older webcam, because it's a cheaper camera. But yeah, like I said, this is actually one of my favourite Geiger counters in terms of, like, a doomsday range Geiger counter, just because it's, you know, like a 0 to 200 Röntgen Geiger counter. And it picks up beta to 200 Röntgen, this one, if you take the back off, which is nice. But, yeah, it's not that practical if you wanted an actual Geiger counter for measuring low-dose things, because obviously it's like a CDV style, you know, meter just built as a Geiger rather than built as an ionization chamber. But yeah, at the moment, Polbro, an Atlin or any of those expensive helmets aren't really on the cards for me, you know, because I bought that recently. I've got that, you know, modern British Army Virtus helmet, which is the same thing as an American ECH. It's either an ACH or an ECH equivalent, whichever one it is. You know, a thermoplastic helmet. And considering that they can stop rounds, but you'd still die from the impact, that's good enough, because, you know, your neck and your brain are still squishier. You know, there's helmets that can stop a lot of rounds, but your body isn't going to be built to take the shock from those rounds hitting the helmet. What is that? I came, I saw, I conquered, Jesse. Like the Caesar thing. Or Kaiser or Caesar, whichever one it is. I came, I saw, I conquered. Oh, that's cool. So the first gun you ever held as an M1 Garand, then Scouts brought to our school, and then it was PR8 Luger. That's cool. Let me look it up, Sing, because off the top of my head, I don't know. Umarex HDR50. Like, when my mouse works again, there we go. Umarex HDR50. Which one's that? So, so it's a revolver, is it? Is that the paintball one, or is that the one that shoots? So it's a paintball revolver. That's pretty cool. I mean, I probably wouldn't get one myself anytime soon, but if you're into paintball stuff, I imagine that would be really fun, actually. But yeah, if I was to get another air gun, I'm very tempted to just get a top-of-the-line Springer for, you know, like really precise Springer shooting. Oh, I came, I saw, I won rather than I conquered, is it? But yeah. Because ACM, they often turn up for sale on eBay when the MOD loses them. So again, it's the thing where you do have to be careful, because you can occasionally buy them, and if the MOD is looking for them, you know, they might, you know, say you bought stolen property, you need to return it, but then you'll normally always refund it through eBay if that happens. But when I bought mine, nothing came of it for a week or two, and mine was being sold like by a proper surplus store, as in, you know, one that sold loads of British Army gear. So it could just potentially be that, you know, my one was one of the ones that was sold because for whatever reason they bought too much supply or whatever. It's 8 p.m, so I'm going to be finishing the stream a bit before then. But the best checks of, yeah, exactly, TXE Gaming. X-ray tubes are definitely the best thing to stress test radiation detectors with easily, and it's a lot safer because of the fact that, you know, X-rays can be turned on and off, unlike a check source, as in, like, you know, nuclear waste. Because X-rays only, X-rays that are being made from an X-ray tube, let's say, as opposed to strontium 90 or something next to some lead, which also makes X-rays because of Brandstrahlung or Brackenstrahlung, however the Germans pronounce it. X-rays from an X-ray tube are only turned on when there's power, like the high voltage applied to the tube, because of the electrons suddenly stopping hitting the ends of the tube. But yeah, so incompetent Alexane is probably the best one, because it was like today when they were saying, is it malice that they keep extending the lockdowns and extending the rules and all that, you know, corruption, all that. I think it's just incompetence that, you know, the government keeps wanting to please everybody and then pleases nobody. Yeah, it got brought up on Mike's thing. We won't go too much into it because, you know, like I said, I have nothing against trans people and all that. And if the person identified as a she, then, you know, it might as well be a she, because I don't want to start an argument on here. But yes, the rule is, do not buy illegal stuff if you also are sitting on top of a load of other stuff you shouldn't own. Because if ever any of the stuff you buy gets investigated, you know, you might have a lot of stuff seized. That's why, you know, when the police have come over here before, I've never been in any trouble because I don't have anything illegal, you know. Especially if you're like a YouTuber, don't do this, because, you know, if somebody reports you maliciously and the police come over, like what happened to me, I was like, oh, you can look through all my stuff, and then it was a bit boring. Like, yeah, you're fine. It's French. It'll be an ARFA, because I don't think I've ever seen Polish MP5s that are tan. I mean, Brighthole might know differently, but the easiest way of looking is look at the voice diaphragm, see what the cover looks like. But in general, I've only ever seen black Polish MP5s, whereas the French had both a black and the yellow version of the mask. Yeah, Katie, at the moment it's just because I wanted something that I could play all the latest games on and finally get into 4K stuff and, you know, mine with it. Brighthole says there are no tan MP5s, so I take his word for it. If it's a tan coloured one, it's automatically French. If it's black, look closer at it, because that's where... But yeah, if it looks like this, it's the French one. That's conveniently just out because I've taken it out as satchel, because the satchel is better than the mask. But yes, the easy way of looking at the covers is if the cover looks like that, as in lots of circular holes, it's the French one. The Polish ones, except I think Brighthall said on the first models, always have like the smaller and smaller circles. You know, it's like the same circle design, but it's actually like an actual continuous circle, you know, not dots. There is the PMK or GP7 I actually like. Oh, thank you, Giblet or Giblet, for joining up, however your name's pronounced. The one I like is the one that Hype gave me, the one that you can actually put NATO filters on. I'm trying to think of its name. It's like Briz 43 something or other it's called. But basically it's, you know, like a top-end PMK that was made for the export market. That's the one I actually like, although I prefer the PPM, or, like, you know, the more modern PPMs, just because of the fact that they have a better kind of face seal and everything. I've never watched her videos, Oliver, so, you know, I wouldn't know. But like we said before, if you get into like militaria type stuff, especially if you have a public presence, where people might find your videos and then potentially report you, do not get into illegal shit, because it will be so easy then for you to get charged with all sorts. Like with the radiation stuff, I always try and stay above the law on that, because radiation is a can of worms if you get into it. We're quite lucky in the UK, actually. We have less strict laws over here than America for the most part when it comes to radioactive sources. The only difference is it's much easier in the US to buy the licensed sources, which I wish it was like that over here. It's not that it's illegal in the UK, it's just there's very few retailers for it, so they can charge an arm and a leg. So it ends up becoming much cheaper to, go, I'm going to buy an old thing and pry the nuclear waste out of it with a screwdriver. I'm hoping 2-1 to England, but it could go anyway, couldn't it? Italy could completely trounce us. I don't think England are going to trounce Italy. So I think it's going to be Italy is going to win by a mile. It's going to be really close and Italy wins, or it's going to be really close and England wins. But I don't think England has any chance of doing that 7-1 Germany game against Brazil. Yeah, the bit again, the way what Brighton's on about, look at that bit there and see if it says mask poll on that bit there. That's the easiest way of quickly looking. Yeah, it seems weird when you get some people in like Scotland or Wales saying, we want England to lose. Like I said, are people who don't want to be part of the union. But, you'd think you just want them to win because they're the closest country to you. But, as in a reverse 60 to 40 millimeter, because you can get 40 millimeter converters for the 60 millimeter mask, like the Finnish Nokia one up there. Look, like that one, you can get ones for that make, that work completely fine, because lots of armies used them when they were like moving to 40 millimeter masks. But if you mean the other way around, in theory it could be made. I don't think anybody's made one because most nations don't want to carry on with 60 millimeter filters. The one this is a French ARFA or whatever it's called, because they have a couple of different names. I don't have any riveted chainmail, nor do I have any butted mail. I know riveted's the good one. The only chainmail I've got is on one of my stab vests, where it has a chainmail layer to act as the stab protection layer. Yeah, that's the thing I like saying, especially when they're handed in when they don't need to be handed in. Like, when people are like, I'll hand it in because I just don't want it anymore. Like, rather than giving it to a museum or selling it to a gun shop, even if you sold it for like 20 quid and then they could sell it at 300 quid, don't let shit like that get destroyed. Especially obsolete calibers, because they're not even DX. An obsolete caliber is a functional firearm. I'll have a look at the super glue bottle video at some point. I won't do it today, but... Right, litter pickup, because when David Hand did that, I don't think he broke any laws. You see, after the David Hand thing, it's a crime in the US, like an actual federal crime. You can go to prison for it for years. I know a lot of Americans don't care and do it anyway, because what's the reality of you getting caught and charged? But in America, as far as I'm aware, if you buy a smoke alarm, get a screwdriver out, take the americinium, like David Hand did, out of strong smoke alarms, that is actually a federal crime in America. Like, across all states, it's a crime. In the UK, as long as you don't poison anybody with the AM241, you take out smoke detectors, nobody cares. You can literally buy online on sometimes UK eBay the AM241 from smoke alarms. But yeah. And let me have a look, Brighton. Oh yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, it looks, doesn't it, like you were saying, like the French one. But then I guess if you look at the stamps, it would say mask pole, and you can see it's a P5 or an FP5 filter on it. Yeah. Yeah, not great, not terrible TXT gaming. But yeah, what was I going to say? But yeah, so the thing is with America, is what I like about America is, with their nuclear rules, is that you can basically buy pretty much any radioactive element, I think, except plutonium, as a proper check source from quite a few retailers for about $100. So it means if you want to get a particular type of sample, you can get it in the safest way possible. So it's like how I've got the cesium source. So for those of you that haven't seen it, I've got a cesium-137 source that I bought from America, and it's really expensive to do it like that, because you can legally buy it from them, but you have to pay all these import taxes on it. But what you get is essentially like a little plastic disc with a particular sample in it. So it's like a periodic table element, and it's designed in a way that you can't really cut the disc open to get the sample out. So you can measure the radiation from it, and they're designed so you can't really buy a scary high strength one, but you can buy pretty much any sort of periodic kind of element of, a nuclear sample like strontium, cesium, cobalt, all of those, but in general quite low numbers. Because plutonium is, I think, the kind of easiest to go critical nuclear element, isn't it? Now, like I've said before, there is a way you can get plutonium, which is probably very illegal, but the Soviets did put plutonium in some consumer products. So again, I'm not going to tell you what they are. You can find physics forums on the internet where people talk about this. But yeah, it's like uranium-235, right? I don't think you'd find anywhere where you could legally buy U-235. When you buy uranium as pitch blende or uranium as an element, it's normally uranium-238, which is the far less active one. I hope the football's coming home, but I don't know. Like I've said, I think it'll be a close game regardless. Yeah, it's called americinium-241, Jesse. It's a common thing. Americinium-241, do I have any in this room to show you? Because I've got a lot of it. Like I said, the amount I'm legally allowed to have. But AM241 is basically like a little coin type thing. No, I don't think I've got any in this room. But basically, AM241 is like a little coin, like a little bit of the alloy they put in a smoke alarm in the alpha particle detector. Well, uranium all naturally occurs. But bear in mind, when uranium is used in reactors or bombs, it's enriched. It's not like the uranium you directly dig out the ground. It has to go through several phases to be made from essentially naturally occurring what you call pitch blende or uranite. I think it's the more common name now. But basically, which is all with uranium in it. It has to be basically, like smelted down, refined. Oh, cheers, Crypto Pirate. Right, I don't know if it would be 3D printed to freedom, but I'm hoping the laws are going to get a lot less strict on stuff like that. But thank you for your service, obviously. Like I said, I've had family members serve in like the armed forces over here, but I personally wasn't able to because I was, have chronic illnesses which rule you out. But for you down there talking about sort of stuff, I can't pick them up because YouTube goes crazy. 3 of the rifles down there, the Martini Henry, and if I turn it that way, it'd be easier to see, the Schmidt Rubin, and the Mannlicher, or Mannlicher, whatever it's called, those two are live because they're obsolete calibers. So you can own them here without any of the paperwork because it's basically considered not a firearm over here until you load ammo into it and start shooting it. But yeah, I appreciate your thing because, I am one of the people that thinks the Second Amendment and things like that is a good idea because, if you're a responsible person, why should you not be allowed to have something that you can protect yourself with and use for sporting purposes? But most of the stuff I have is obviously stuff like this, which we can very easily legally own here until, I guess, some shitty government decides we can't own them, but... Yeah, exactly. Shall not be infringed. Very, very well, Welsh lad. Every game I play now, I can run at 60 FPS, pretty much ultra settings, except for games that are very, very badly optimized with the 3090. Because obviously, if a 3090 can't run a game at the moment at a smooth frame rate, it means there's something wrong with the game. Yeah, I prefer calling it the Mannlicher because it's funnier, but... I'm trying to think, do I have any US gas masks in this room where I can very quickly get them out to show you? The answer is sadly probably not. I do have some US civil defense counters over there, like the yellow one that you can see on the corner of the shelf. That's the US CDV. Is that the 720 I've got there, or is it 715? I don't know about going to get it now. But I've got loads of the US, civil defense radiation detectors because, I've got the samples to play about with them. What country's that? I've never heard of that country, I'm afraid. I know what a Yugoslavian helmet is, and I assume like Pakistan and a lot of those countries use like old Soviet helmets or American helmets. But I've never heard of that country. And so maybe I'm being really ignorant, but I've not heard of that country. Unless you're making a joke there with that. But yeah, Dan, I will hopefully at some point stream Chernobylite maybe a bit on YouTube for people who like Stalker style games. That's weird, isn't it, Brighthole, some of the rules like that. But saying about, where we were saying about things that are legal here that aren't legal in America, just like the weird things where you'd think stuff would be more restricted over here that isn't. Laser pens, weirdly. So let me put these back on before I blast my eye. When you say cesium is in clocks, I think you mean radium is in clocks, litter picker. Cesium didn't come about until the invention of fission. But yes, thorium is in lots of shit the Chinese sell as health products, as in, the old radioactive quackery. But yeah, weirdly, in the US, laser pens, what's the limit in the US? Is it 100 milliwatt? Although I know you get a lot over there that are stronger than that, and they're just labeled lower. But yes, so technically, under US law, this would be an illegal laser pen. Not that it matters, because a lot of people do have stronger ones than that, and I don't think the ATF or whoever gives a shit. But, it's one of those weird things where over here, we can buy ones stronger than you can technically buy in the US on legal limits of power. But, it's like one of those laws I don't think really matters anyway. Yeah, the thing you've got in your clock, litter picker, let me turn on the Geiger counter if it's got a battery in it. I haven't opened my beer yet, so I don't need to worry about contaminating it. Right, does this have a battery in currently? It does. Is it going to turn on? Let me take the battery out and back in. Unless I've run the battery completely flat. If I have, fuck's sake. Do I have a Geiger counter handy in this room? Oh, wait, it's turned on now. There we go. Right, so let's put it on the mode. I'll be off in a minute, by the way, because it won't be long before the pre-match stuff starts. Right, I don't want the alarm modes on, because obviously we'll be setting off the alarm. Right, okay, so this isn't a top-end Geiger counter by any means, but it's one that I can show if it doesn't get too bright on there. Right, so we're currently rocking 63 counts per minute, according to that. That's probably about normal, 1 count per minute roughly. Right, let's get some radium clock hands. I keep some here. So yeah, what you're thinking of is these. If it focuses, maybe. Don't think it wants to focus. But those are radium watch hands in there. So put them on the Geiger counter. This is quite a slow updating screen on this one, by the way. I would not risk drinking from uranium glass or eating from Fiestaware plates. But if you can hear the beeping, that's what they used to put in like clocks and dials. Radium, as in Marie Curie. Radium. There's a very small amount naturally in uranium, and it's 1,000 times hotter than uranium in terms of radiation levels. But yes, radium. And yeah, they used to drink out of uranium glasses, eat off uranium glazed cups and that. Yeah, 1,900 pounds, and it's coming home, Jesus Deuce. There you go. Sorry if that doesn't sound that enthusiastic. I've not had enough of these yet, but it would certainly protect you for a while. The thing is, the most chemical suits and that, a lot of them aren't designed to last indefinitely. Chemical suits are generally designed to either be thrown away or decontaminated, after a certain amount of use. Oh, that's actually quite cool. But not if that's true, litter picker, I might have to see if I can find one of them, just in case it's got more cesium in my little cesium sample, because I love this shit that's probably slowly killing me. Right, have an enjoyable time watching it, Flazzy. Yeah, I had a Foster's when I got home, GZ Deuce. It's just we've nearly run out of those in the fridge. So the current crate of beer that's gone into the fridge is Heineken. But there's also radium in old alarm clocks and dials, litter picker as well. That was another use of radioactive materials. Yeah, I've not started it yet. Hang on. Yes, TXC Gaming. The other thing that's hotter than that, but is rarer, I probably won't be doing a post-match stream, Flazzy, because I'll be drinking quite a bit. And then I might have a really early night, depending on how much I've drunk, because I've been at work all weekend. I went to bed before 9 p.m. yesterday. That's how hammered I was from work. Yeah, Catman, it seems like a pointless invention, but it's a cool thing, isn't it? Drunk Russian, because I've got ulcerative colitis, the sad thing, or like if you're a troll, you probably think it's a good thing, but the sad thing is with ulcerative colitis is that you basically have a much shortened lifespan anyway due to what's going on with your colon. Because if your body is constantly damaging itself and repairing itself, the chance you're going to run into cancer is much, much higher. So that's kind of why I like playing with radioactive things. So I think if I've got a likely shortened lifespan anyway, why should I not enjoy playing with stuff that, you know, is a bit cool but dangerous? But have a good evening, everybody. I am going to be off in a moment because I'm going to be getting the TV ready for the football. And, yeah, and that they still use tritium now, Pole Brokers. Tritium is really safe. I've got quite a few bits of tritium. Football's coming home to Italy. But, yeah, I've got quite a few bits of tritium. Tritium is really easy to buy online because you can buy defile markers, they're called. And you can get big bits of tritium from those. Yeah, 1,500. Oh, yeah, so the thing I was saying about the radium, sorry, before I got distracted. The strongest radium source I know of in a commercial thing, but again, rarer than DP63, there was an old type of radio, like a police radio type thing. And it had a radium-like needle in it, like a bit of radium wire. And the reason that was in it is it apparently helped stop interference on the radio frequency, like the static. Yeah, well, you have to encase tritium in glass because tritium is a gas. If you don't encase it in glass, it's gone. So how tritium, like glowing sights work and all those things, you've got the tritium, it's in glass, and the inside of the glass is coated with a phosphor that, you know, reacts to light. So the tritium excites the phosphor, which makes the phosphor glow. Therefore, you have glowing sights that glow 24/7. There's a bit of tritium in this room somewhere, in like a little sample case, and that glows, you know, when the lights are off. But it's quite hard to show on camera because it's very bright to the eye. To the camera, it's a bit dim. You know, it doesn't look as good as it actually is. Don't buy them, Christopher. They're basically Chinese masks that are rebranded. I am not going to drink so much TXE Gaming that I feel like death tomorrow, but I am going to have enough to drink that I have a good time tonight and not an awful time tomorrow. So there we go. What was your question, Yanni? Sorry. I can't see your question easily on the stream, so I can't answer you if your question didn't turn up. It might be one where... Oh, I saw one that says, the only two comments I've got is in uranium mines. Well, yes, you do get uranium in uranium mines because it comes from the ground. But yeah, your other question didn't show up because YouTube obviously censored it. Anyway, have a good evening, everybody. Enjoy the football. Let the best side win. And let's hope there isn't a load of bullshit with people ruining it for everybody. So have a good evening. And I'm going to get my TV set up now. And, you know, have a good evening, everybody. And thank you for the people that joined up and donated as well, because obviously that helps me out as a creator. Bye.